Hello everybody, and I'm super excited today. The time has finally come. I'm going to be starting on my trailer. Today's another day, new beginning, new challenges. Now I'm gonna cut this piece of rotten tin out and cut that out, because I need to get rid of the bit there where the jack used to be. So just put a piece of steel across there as a straight edge, give you something to pull the cutter against, not look directly at it because it'll give you arc eye, and hopefully we'll get an air. Okay, so we know the drawbar is 1 degree out of being parallel to this cross member. I've welded a big bit of, it's not a big bit, but it's a bit of I-beam on it, H section, whatever you want to call it, RSJ. I've got some weight hanging off the end. The plan is now, because it's actually got a bend in the chassis here, going to heat in this area, which will let the front drop down a little bit, and hopefully as that drops down it will then let it come back to the angle that we need, and then we can cut the I-beam off. We can then fix it from there to there and then have it going forwards, and then we can work both sides to bend it straight. I think to bend it straight it's going to be a case of nibbling away on both sides down here and underneath with a plasma cutter, just to get it square again in terms of in that direction. And then once that's correct, what we can then do is weld it back up and put a fish plate inside, which we will weld in the join here, and then we'll weld it on the back side as well, so it's got good contact, so it'll be nice and strong. So that is the plan going forwards. I did think about getting a bit of decent box section to put in there, but it is quite expensive at the moment, so I'm going to see if I can do this and make a safe and strong repair. So that's the plan for today. So first thing to do is get heating. We've got this, which is going to go on there like that. The angle meter is going to sit on there, then we can see when it gets to the correct angle.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything.
So with the drawbar now being parallel from here to here, the next job is we need to actually bring the tongue down a bit. So I have been having a bit of a clean up, and I'm not sure if you can see, but it's cracked through here and it's also cracked through here. So the original plan was to cut a line out down here diagonally, and then like that, to take a V out, heat up underneath and squash the metal back together, and then put a plate inside and then weld the V back up. That was the initial plan. Now that this has got the crack here and this has now got to be repaired anyway, what I'm going to do is just put the grinder through that. I'm going to come down here, open it up, I'll then bend the tongue down and put the plate inside and weld that V back up. Potentially it might be a bit stronger because the weld will be in compression rather than in tension, but it just makes sense now just to leave the underneath alone, because I've only got one torch. I can only do one side at a time. It'd be nice to have two torches and work both sides together to get it to pull down easier. So yeah, the plan now is to cut down there, bend the tongue down and weld it back up. Hopefully having this across here will stop any twist, and we should be pretty good. So what I was going to do was just weld that piece of girder back on to here, just to put some weight on it so that it starts pulling down, and it just makes it a bit easier for me to control it, so I can put it down onto the jack.
Past the point of no return, baby, on the summer night. A shot of love and a spark of life to breathe.
Yeah, I got weld on there now. Weld on that side as well. Just now with that beam on there, it just gives it a little bit more weight on the end. I can put a lot of pressure on it and it's not moving anywhere, so I'm going to start cutting down here so that sorry, not going to cut there at all and move that bit of wood. That was just to keep the wind out while I was welding. I'm going to start cutting down here just to let this now bend down, and that should get us where we want to go. We've also got a crack here which needs cutting out and welding back up, and it looks like I might have to do some more checking around the trailer to make sure there's no other cracks anywhere that I haven't seen, but it all needs a good steam clean off, etc. first as well. Ideally, not have a steam cleaner, so I need to get access to one of them. But I do have a good pressure washer, so I've never washed it really since I've had it. Might have had just one wash and that was it. So yeah, really does need a good clean before I do too much more, especially before it gets painted. So let's get cutting and see what happens. So what I need to do now is also just get the jack under here so that when it moves down, it's not going to fall, is it? We're professionals. When it moves down, the jack will stop it from going too far. So I've got my angle meter again, which I will put on there like so. So we can see at the moment it is a few degrees out. Hopefully it focus so we can see it. It's a few degrees out, so we're on 1, 2, 3 degrees. So 3 degrees, obviously over 4 or 5 foot is quite a lot at the end, and it will make it look a lot better. So I'm going to crack on with that, and I'm going to speed it up and see how we go. So one more thing I just want to do. Okay, one more thing that I just want to do before we start is I want to see how much height difference it makes. So at the moment we are at 50 centimeters near enough. Yeah, 50 centimeters pretty much bang on, maybe 498 maybe mil. Not bothered about 2 mil, so we're going to call it 50. So I'm just going to make a note of that before we start. And the other thing I'm going to do is get my set square and mark down here. So I just need a reference mark so I know where I'm going to cut. Approximately I found the width for the chalk on the side, so put the chalk in there, width for the chalk. Straight down, that's the line I'm going to cut on to allow it to open out. And we should be good to go, hopefully. Can't really see any problems with it, so let's get cracking. last night it was a late night. Got the fish plates inside now. I don't think you can see very well because of the light, but the fish plates are in there. I was going to put a plate in here, but because it's only going to be about 10mm wide, so that I could get a root weld on each side, what I've decided to do instead is just run welds across the top and just tie them all into each other. So as we can see there, and the same on that side. And just give it a quick clean. So just run weld across there just to strengthen up the underside, because that is the point where it bent last time. So with a fish plate on the inside, what it has allowed me to do, or it's let me do, it's let me put a beader weld in here, which is then welded to the fish plate on the inside, and it's also welded to the two parts of the chassis as well. You can see here where the penetrations come through, and just here, and it's the same on the other side. It was a bit awkward to get the torch in because I still had the piece of box there across here before. Made it awfully difficult. I spent a long time yesterday cleaning in here with the die grinder. So I cleaned up to there, and the same sort of thing the other side. That will clean up with the die grinder. Now the drawbar is done and complete. Just ready for some paint. I've also welded on here because this is where it was cracked before, so I put 3 good root welds on there just to reinforce that again. Next thing for me to do is to get the die grinder up in here, so I need to clean down in here and in here so my little bits of angle can get welded in for the corner post to fit on. So that will come down in here, and then I can get all this welded up. And the job after that, which is probably what I'm going to start first, I'm going to get all these cut off ready for the new ones to be installed. Now I have already taken the measurements. I've measured from there to there, from there to there, and so on and so on, and I've also taken a measurement from the last one, the other end, just to make sure that it is correct. So we've got new gudgeons to go on, so I'm going to cut these off with a 4.5-inch grinder just because it gives me a little bit more control, and hopefully it'll be easier. It's a lot easier for me to hold anyway.